Hello.
No,
I was waiting for you. I'm Melinda McKinsey.
I'm Melinda McKinsey.
Oh, I'm Tom Wise. And guess
Right.
what we're going to do today? We're going to unpack some shit.
We're unpacking some shit today.
Yeah, we are. Today's Monday. There's always a lot. Oh, are you doing the hair flip thing?
Whatever. Just kidding.
Today's Monday, so I'm guessing we have a lot to talk about over the
Oh,
weekend and what's happening in the news and all the questions from our viewers. So, do you want to get started?
I don't see a sack of mail, a mail sack back there.
Oh, well, I kept it out of view. I don't want to distract from the conversation. What are your topics, Tom? What would you like to speak of?
I have an odd topic,
Yes.
and the odd topic is, first of all, you know what? Facebook is not an evil place.
Correct.
I I wish the girl. It's an odd thing because I really don't. You know me, I don't post that much.
Yes.
But it'll pop up and say, "Hey, wish this person happy birthday," and it offers a couple of pictures of you and that person.
Yes, I kind
Right?
of like that.
Well, then of course I want a happy birthday. But the trouble is, it comes up on my timeline too. So if I want to wish Matt Davis a happy birthday, it's a
Oh,
picture of me and Matt, and since I'm on it and I'm posting it, it comes up on my timeline. I
got it.
don't. It seems like I'm being narcissistic. I'm trying to drag myself into Matt's birthday. I just wanted to wish him a
Oh,
birthday. Like I wish the girls happy birthday. Their birthday
yes.
was the 18th,
Yes.
and then 100 of my friends, wish the girl, wish the girls happy
Yeah.
birthday or clicked on the post. I feel like that's not my purpose. My purpose, I would just like to,
Mhm.
it should just go on their timeline, not my timeline.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's having more good wishes is never a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. And
Anyway, let me ask you a question. This is the only question I've got for today,
okay.
outside my book of questions.
Yes.
How long does a housefly live?
Oh, until someone kills it. Like you want numbers, you want days, you want hours.
Well, it's funny, and I'm asking the question, and I would like a serious answer for once. Can you just, does everything have to be a joke?
Yes.
How many times have people said that to you in your lifetime?
Oh gosh, a lot, a
Is
lot.
everything a joke?
Is
Can you
everything
take
a joke to
anything?
you? You think that's funny? There's a tone that comes with it.
And usually we all know the answer. Yes, everything is a joke. And I
Yes.
do think it's funny.
It is
I
funny.
remember as an altar boy, you get to get pulled out of, I was an altar boy, sixth, seventh, and eighth grade.
Okay.
And one of the benefits is you could get pulled out of class to do something.
Okay, that's nice.
But mostly it's you get pulled out of class to do a funeral. Not too many
Oh,
weddings during the week,
okay.
unless someone's 9 months pregnant.
And they just can take you anytime. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, it would happen twice a year. Between
Oh,
how many altar boys there are and your rotation, your seniority, and
got
whatever.
it. Yeah.
So I remember I got called. I was doing a funeral, and me and
Oh,
this other kid, you do everything's in pairs, but we were laughing. We were cutting
oh,
each other up,
yes.
and we were audibly laughing at some point in the funeral. It's like,
And were there ramifications for that?
no, but that is a time that isn't funny, and you shouldn't be laughing.
But I've laughed at funerals, and I think it's mostly because you're just so
Well, you laugh when somebody tells a funny story. You're not sitting there laughing in the third row. I
I
guess you
think
do think everything's funny.
I think I can think of a particular instance. No one was saying anything in particular, but it was so sad. And then my sister and I caught each other's eye, and it was one of those moments where we were so distressed, you get a little hysterical, and
Of
we had
course, people
we have
want
to
the
get
laughter release, but usually it's somewhat of an appropriate moment. Somebody gets up and says, "You know what? I remember when Jerry couldn't control that hose, and it's got him in the face, and
yeah,
it's been around, made his own. He was wearing a suit.
yeah.
So that's a funny joke."
As a child, when this happened, did the family speak to you or anybody?
Nobody said nothing.
Okay.
I'm sure. Hopefully, the guy in the box had a good sense of humor.
There you go.
I'm an idiot. I mean, at sixth grade, you're literally 11 years old.
Right. Yeah. No, I get it. Did you hear about that one Irish guy that recorded before his death? He had it planned. So as they lowered the casket to the ground, he's like, hello, let me out of here. And everybody started laughing.
I love it.
I love that.
Yeah. Albert Brooks famously, you remember his brother, Super Dave Osborne?
Oh, I didn't know they were brothers until you had told me before, but yes.
And there's a third brother who's older than both of those guys.
Okay.
Right. So Albert Brooks, he's going to be the last to speak because Super Dave died about 6 months ago.
Okay.
And his older brother's Charlie. Right.
Okay.
So he gets up and he goes, this is embarrassing. I thought this was Charlie. So he's figured the oldest brother would be dead.
No, that's good. I like that.
Cracked everybody up.
I like that. So your thing for today.
What's your answer?
I'm going to say houseflies live for 72 hours.
It's odd. Patrick and I both thought housefly lives a day. We had it both in our brain that a housefly lives for a day.
Okay.
And there's a fly in the house and it's been here multiple days. And we're like, what's going on? It's the day has gone and come and gone. But it's interesting because that was both in both of our heads. I mean, where do you learn that? Where does that number come from?
Is it wishful thinking that you thought, well, at least in a day it'll die, so I don't have to worry about it?
Well, that was the thought. But you're thinking, though, why did we both have that same common idea in our heads, which was incorrect?
Well, maybe someone in your family said it and you just stuck with it and it seemed reasonable. So what's the correct answer?
It's like 23 days.
That's a very long time for a fly.
Oddly enough, it said male houseflies.
Oh.
Didn't have anything for females.
Really?
So you got that going for you.
Yeah, I haven't seen flies in a while. It's actually snowing again today.
God bless it.
It is snowing. Big fluffy flakes. The weather forecast is, hey, it's snowing, but don't worry. By the end of the week, it's going to be 45.
Oof.
We got some stuff to look forward to here.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It's funny. I feel horrible. Could you imagine being in Texas at this time?
No.
It's horrible. I mean, 100 people have died, or maybe 80 that they've recorded.
I'm sure they'll find, as time goes on, right? Because their homes aren't insulated. They're not prepared for that kind of, especially sustained over time. It was incredibly low temperature sustained over time.
I mean, you could handle a day if you had to.
If you had to.
I mean, people are burning furniture, but how long?
Yeah.
I mean, I burn wood here. It doesn't let 48 minutes, 2 hours for a log.
Well, and they didn't have the knowledge. If you've always lived in a fairly warm climate, you've never really had to deal with this kind of weather, I could see where it'd be very confusing, which is why people were dying of carbon monoxide and different things were happening, because even though we think it's a well-known thing, it's really not as well-known as you would like to believe.
No, because they've got to kind of that click it and ticket thing. That's important for everyone to see that a million times, rather than don't use the Coleman stove inside the house during a freeze. I mean, they should have been blasting that. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of things should have been done. So it'd be interesting to see. That's actually one of my stories, Tom. One of my stories is about the power bills of the people. Did you read about this stuff that was going on? They have third-party vendors that were offering wholesale prices for your electric bills. And part of the deal is, hey, if you go with us, because it's wholesale, we'll keep it low. Now, if there's a crisis, of course,
market will adjust.
So this fella, his name is Scott Willoughby, 63-year-old veteran, said his monthly bill was around $80 for electric. That's great, right? Well, how many days has it been? It hasn't even been a week. Guess what his most recent bill was?
83.
Over 16,000.
Okay, well, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
Over 16,000. Now, come on. That's not reasonable.
It's insane. That's absolutely insane. I saw that article. It's nuts. Okay. People are paying $1,000 a day for electricity. And Jerry
Right.
Jones, that's his business,
Yeah.
owner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, what do you think is going to happen? Well, don't you
Well,
think there's going to be,
well, they had a stock market call. Go, my gosh, we're killing it. We're
I
crushing it.
saw,
This is amazing.
I saw that they were thrilled. How do they not make well, I think hopefully a lot of things will come from this, right? Because based on the fact that we're in a pandemic, everybody's still paying attention to what's going on in the world. This situation has occurred. These people are celebrating making money while no one can pay $16,000. No one for 1 month or 1 week.
Well, Jerry Jones can. What are you talking about?
Jerry, no one but Jerry Jones.
Thank you.
I would like to believe you're right. Tom is right again. Let's put that on the scoreboard. Tom has been right again. So I'd be curious to see kind of what the fallout is, because this man was saying he was told if he didn't pay the bill, they were going to cut his power. He never lost power during this crisis. And then another lady said she's on automatic payments to the company, and that so much money ended up paying $6,000. So much was coming out that her bank stopped giving it because they said, what's going on? This is wrong. So
Right.
How horrifying.
It's insane. You couldn't sell a gallon of milk for $10 because they would come down on you for price gouging.
Yes.
Even though the market was, hey, we're not going to get milk deliveries for another 2 weeks.
Right.
So this gallon of milk, which you could buy for $1.95, we're going to auction it off to the highest bidder. We're going to sell it for 10. And if you don't want to spend 10, go fuck yourself. That guy would be in jail by the end of the day.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'll be curious to see what happens, because
let's take a commodity which you have to have.
Right.
I mean, somebody's talked about, I was walking to 7-Eleven. I saw a woman frozen to the sidewalk.
I don't have any words for it. It's absolutely horrific. I'm glad to see so many people helping, so many people jumping in to make sure people are safe. On the internet, people were actually giving tips on how to stay warm safely, how to conserve energy. It was great to see people jumping in that did, participate in helping.
What would you do if your 83-year-old mom was living in Houston and the temperature in the house is 45?
I don't know. I don't know. It's horrifying.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
It would be horrible.
Yeah. So I think we're going to learn along the way that there's more people that have succumbed to this because of this unfortunate circumstance, because right now there hasn't been a recovery, right? People are just trying to survive right now.
Yeah. And it's just, and it's poor people,
Of course. And definitely that's been part of the conversation, is that the divide is getting wider and wider, and we need to do something about that.
Well, Ted was on a fact finding in Mexico to see if there was some additional resources he could bring back.
Yeah, Ted Cruz. Let's make sure everybody knows who we're talking about. Ted Cruz had to go to Mexico to sort some things and to learn what he needed to do. And of course, he came back right away when he was shown over and over again in the media that he was wrong. And of course, he lied right away, of course, and threw his daughters under the bus, as most fathers would do, right?
His daughters aren't even teenagers.
Right, Tom? You got to throw those kids under the bus.
It's funny. He did circle back with a half of an apology.
Oh, did he now?
He goes, yeah, I'm a dad, and the girls wanted to go to Cancun, and how do I? It's like,
what do I do? What was that his apology?
Yeah, his kids wanted to go.
That's not an apology, sir. That is not an apology. Not in the world that I live in. That is not an apology. Saturday Night Live, of course, spoofed him. If you haven't seen the latest Saturday Night Live, it was pretty funny. They had, I can't remember the actor's name. She dressed as Ted Cruz with braids in the hair and holding a margarita and, doing all this stuff. It was funny, but also let's see if there's ramifications. Let's see,
the only people that could possibly penalize him is his own people in Texas. So if Texas votes him in again, I don't know when's his next election. Probably 4 years, 2 years.
I feel like he's got a bit of time. People are trying to survive right now. They don't have time to fight with Ted Cruz, right? They're trying to survive. And now Ted Cruz, right before we started filming, Ted Cruz is at that hearing for the Attorney General. So he was questioning the Attorney General.
He's got integrity problems.
I've got some morals and ethics questions for you, sir. I'm like, you have some nerve to just come across like, well, I need to know how you feel about this.
I mean, from where I'm sitting, the Republicans can never question anyone's morals for the rest of their time on the planet.
Well, the funny thing is they're going to. They're
Yeah.
just going to.
You were
That's
comfortable with the stripper and the hookers and the multiple wives, multiple kids, with multiple children.
it's just worked for them in the past,
Yeah.
and I'm happy to see that it's not going to be working currently.
Yeah. Where were
So,
you when we could really vote? Anyway, so let's get
right.
to the happy part of our show.
So we've got lots of happy stuff. So we can either talk about millionaires, tattoos, um, um, earning the same amount of money as everybody else, or, well, this isn't a happy one. People are attacking Asians because of the COVID flu. We're having problems here in Chinatown with people literally shoving and knocking senior Asians down.
That's insane. Well,
We'll have to talk about that one. That's not the same. But okay, so we've got all that. And then I have a couple of questions about like ethical stuff. So you tell me what sounds good. Ethics, millionaires, eye contact. I have a question about eye contact.
let's go. You'd pick one out. I like millionaires and eye contact.
Okay, let's talk about eye contact. So
Oh, by the way, the casting couch is open, by the way.
oh, the casting couch.
Any runaways in the area need a place.
Oh, I'm so glad you're such a helpful man. I do have a casting couch story. So with eye contact, studies have shown, I want you to guess the answer to this. If you look at someone during a conversation and you're making eye contact 60% of the time, what do you think that means? 60%.
Is it my boss, a woman, a kid?
Let's say it's anybody. According to this, it's in work or pleasure. If you're making eye contact 60% of the time, this is a sign of something.
You're really interested.
60% actually means you're bored. 60% means you're bored. Now, today with phones and stuff, I don't know how that would, because I feel like a lot of times, and you tell me if this happens in your circles, when we were allowed out in the world, you would be with real people, but also a lot of people would be doing this and looking down at their phone, right? So that's not good eye contact. If you have eye contact 80% of the time, what do you think that means?
You're interested.
Finally, you're interested, 80%. But here's the twist. If you make eye contact 100% of the time, have you ever, because Tom, when you talk, you have a tendency, you'll look away, you'll do this, you'll look down, you'll look up. If someone is looking at you 100% of the time,
go on.
What does it mean?
They're crazy.
It means they're threatening you. They're threatening you. I can't think of a time I actually had 100%. Can you? 100%?
Well, that's an animal in attack mode.
That's what they're saying. They're threatening you. They're threatening you. I mean, because I thought about that and I thought, yeah, I guess if someone was coming after me with a knife, they wouldn't look away, right? If someone's going to shoot me, they're not going to be like, But have you ever been on a date and had I had one guy stare at me so much, I felt unnerved, and I don't care. Look at me all you want, but this guy stared so much, it was super uncomfortable.
Was he licking his lips?
No, I think, and I don't know this to be a fact, but just based on his questions, he's the same guy I told you about. I talk a lot with my hands. He would look at me and then he would stare at my hands for a while, and then he would stare at me, and I'm like, that's the guy that I didn't think we had a good connection. And he said, this is going so well. Can we go get a nightcap? And I was like, oh, save me. I don't know what to do. So talking about dates, talking about eye contact, one of our viewers asked, they would like to know, Tom, what was your worst first date?
One of our viewers
Wants to know. Tom, when I ask you that question, can you think of your worst first date? Because I feel like you've had some. When I read this,
I've had some bad dates.
Tom has had some doozies.
I think the one that wins,
yes,
is everything's 2 years ago.
Yes, it was definitely 2 years ago.
So the posted picture was that of a well-endowed yoga instructor. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
In the middle of Times Square. That's the picture.
Okay. Close up, far away.
Medium shot. You saw her entire body.
Got it.
Tight pants. Okay.
I'm visualizing it right now.
Hang on, let me visualize that. Anyway, so then the meeting place was going to be, I always think that I don't want to put any pressure on anybody. Make it easy, you know. It was going to be near her, which Clearwater Beach.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is a 40-minute drive for me from Tarpon Springs. And
my God, you were really
and a 5-minute walk for where she lived.
Okay.
Okay. Meeting time, I forget the specific details. Meeting time was 11:30.
Okay.
On a Sunday morning.
Oh, how nice.
And she rolled in about 12:15.
And was there communication?
No communication. As far as I recall, Your Honor.
You stayed.
Well, I was hungry. I was going to at some point just get something to eat.
That is incredibly rude.
She was sweating, a sweating mess.
Okay, well, you live in Florida. People sweat there. What do you mean about a sweaty mess? Like she had worked in the yard?
I don't know what she had been doing, but she didn't look anything like her picture.
Okay.
Her stomach was hanging over her belt.
For real, the stomach was hanging over.
I kid you not. I've got no reason.
That was different than the photo then. The photo did not show that.
And as she's ordering her burger and fries, she declares she's on a diet. I go, you're on the burger and fry diet. That's interesting.
Was this photo from many years previous?
Could have been another person. But you know what? The thing is, there's no charm. There was no apology. It was just a bull in a china shop. Wow. Everything was expected. Yeah. And at one point I said, that was an interesting, your photograph. When did you take that? Oh, yeah, that was a while back. Why not something more current, perhaps? Oh, I couldn't figure out how to get those pictures on the site.
Really now? You really figure out that photo? Okay. Wow. So she's late. She's messy. She's overweight. She's a liar. When was your second date?
I did something. I mean, she was so rude.
Yeah.
The entire time. You know me. Am I a mean person?
You're very chill.
Am I rude?
You're absolutely not rude.
No. So the date in my mind is like, this is crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
She's, besides being rude, she's a little bit mean and standoff and whatever. I was like, well. So I get up and excuse myself to go to the bathroom.
Of course.
I find the waitress. I pay the bill.
Oh, you paid the whole bill? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then I dip out the back.
Good for you. Good for you. Now, how long before she called you?
It was about 40 minutes. I'm like, yeah, how did that feel? I drove all the way to you and you're 45 minutes late.
She waited 40 minutes before she tried to find
again, it's many years back. Yeah, maybe not 40 minutes, not 20 minutes.
Not 5 or 10, which would be reasonable to go, are you okay?
Yeah, there was no 911 call.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'd say it was worst date.
And when she reached out to you, you responded then?
Yeah, I said, yeah, we weren't hitting it off on many levels.
Yeah. So. That sounds civilized.
Yeah, and then she went at me a little bit. But then at some point, see, when you're standing on, the truth, and they're standing on a pile of lies,
right?
You can't ever win in any venue.
True. It's
right.
True. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
The truth is, you weren't your picture. The truth is, you're 45 minutes late. The truth is, I feel like I'm meeting with a New York cop.
Right.
So those are all truths. The truth is, you're not. Well, you get into like, is somebody pleasant or somebody it
Sure.
wasn't pleasant about. No, it was a
Right.
mess.
Well, it was nice that you paid the bill at
Of
least.
course.
I think, I have not had any horrible dates. I really kind of vetted pretty hard because I was always nervous. The one date I told you about that I thought was odd, this guy and I had been talking for a while. He was a pilot. So, of course, I knew that was a bad idea. I jumped right aboard. And on our first date, after, we went out to a very nice restaurant on the beach. We were outside. It was a lovely night. Like everything was good. And then towards the end of the evening, he asked me if I wanted to go skinny dipping. And I laughed because I thought you're funny. And he was like, no, I'm serious. There's a beach right there.
Yeah, this is my closer.
And he was surprised that I was surprised, because I said, what about me
Yeah,
gave you the idea?
have we been touching? Have we been flirting?
No, we weren't touching at all. Did no touches.
Right.
So for me, that was hugely disappointing because I thought, how did I not see this? It came out of nowhere. And the thing was, he called me many times after that to get together. And I was like, why would I ever? That's a really unfortunate thing. So I didn't have anything horrible where,
Yeah.
I think as a female meeting a man, you're always a little nervous. And we drove separately. I met him there,
I
all
mean,
that.
the old picture thing is getting so tired. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had multiple dates where the person showed up. I go, "Excuse me, I'm waiting for someone else." Oh no, I'm Tracy.
Would it be inappropriate if once you booked a date, you would say, hey, can you just send me a quick video? Was that inappropriate?
No, I try to send a picture of me, like, "Hey, here's me out doing yard work," as an
Yeah.
indication. Wouldn't it be fun if you send me a picture of what you're doing?
Oh, they're not going to do that if they're hiding, right? I don't think that's asking too much to say, wow. All right.
Anyway,
Well, we'll have to ask some of our viewers.
another unhappy story. Do we have anything with
Oh my
happiness in
gosh.
it?
All right. Let's do something fun. If you had to put a tattoo, if you had to put a tattoo on your arm with a message to yourself, you had to, what would it be?
It would be like probably a message of encouragement, like ever forward, or moving forward, or something like that.
Have you got any kind of symbols or any phrases that you would feel like, yeah, I could look at this forever, kind of a.
No, but it's an interesting question. I used to dismiss tattoos out of hand, like that's
Mhm.
never happening, and then
Yeah.
said, well, something would happen, something would change my mind. You know,
Yeah.
get a little tattoo.
Would you get it there on your
Yeah,
arm? Because I've
right.
talked to people
If
about,
I had the Alzheimer's, I'd write tattoo right and left,
there you
so I
go.
could it'd be useful.
There you go.
I could put my
Um,
name on there.
I don't have tattoos as I've discussed before, only because of the permanence of it. I'm not great with stuff being forever, but I love feathers and I've often looked at getting a feather right here. Just, I think feathers are lovely, but I've panicked and I haven't done it because it just,
It's funny. I could see the feather. I remember I was with a woman who collected feathers, like a bird feather, an eagle feather,
yeah,
whatever.
sweet.
And it was like, huh, this is nice. What's this all about? And I extracted a bit of information saying the feather was like a symbol to her of maybe I was doing some bad things in the past, but this feather is like an indicator, like I've turned the page, I'm flying
Right.
high, I'm controlling things.
Oh, I love
Not bad things, but just
that. Sure. No, I love that. Well, speaking of Alzheimer's, Tom, I have to tell you, I've had a couple instances where I've been,
have you tried that Reagan joke on anybody? That's money.
I will try the Reagan joke with the pool and the leaves. The last couple days, questioned myself if I'm starting to suffer from dementia because yesterday I was talking to my sister on the phone and a conversation came up about something that happened the day before. Now, the day before, I was talking on the phone to my friend Ellen. I had her on speaker and I was walking about doing things. Now, tell me if this has ever happened to you before. Have you ever been on the phone talking to someone? You get like a text message. So you'll look at it real quick while you're speaking to the person, and then you'll deal with it later, or maybe you'll text them back. So as I'm speaking to Ellen, this happens. And here's the way I remembered it, and then here's the truth about it. The way I remembered it was my sister sent me a text saying, hey, I'm helping mom pay the bills, something, call me later, whatever. So I'm talking to Ellen and I'm thinking, oh, that's interesting because my mom is very fiercely independent. I wonder why my sister's paying her bills, but okay. So later when Carol and I catch up, she starts laughing hysterically and she said, I never sent you a text message with any such thing. And I said, well, I'll pull up my text messages because I mean, I've got them right here.
Yeah, that's easy.
So easy. So I'm not so far in dementia that I don't understand how to logically vet out an answer. So I pull up my text messages. Well, it's not there. And I said, okay, oh, it was probably, we talk on Instagram Messenger and Facebook Messenger. It's probably on there. Instagram Messenger, we send a lot of jokes. No dialogue about paying mom's bills. And my sister's laughing, saying, I would never pay mom's bills. She would never let me. And I said, Carol, I'm scared because I saw it with my eyeballs. I'm afraid. I look at Facebook Messenger and we had sent some jokes back and forth about things happening in New York. So as we're talking, she changes the subject. I'm furiously scrolling through my phone thinking, something's wrong. I'm very afraid. Like, please, God, I'm too young for dementia. So she said, you're distracted. I can tell you're digging through your phone. Hold on a second. She goes to Facebook Messenger. Thank God she found it. I had sent something to my sister, a video showing these kids on the subway, how they started to earn a living on the subway. They went to America's Got Talent, got the golden buzzer. My sister responded to that saying, hey, end up paying their mom's bills. That's great. So this is another reason why you should never look at messages while you're talking on the phone to someone else, because I got myself into such a panic that I had made, and I thought, this is how it happens, right? People with dementia are very certain of what their story is. I was quite certain that I saw it.
It takes a while because, there's certain things I can be talked into or out of things that I said or didn't see or thought I saw or whatever happened.
Me too. I think I'm right until someone tells me I'm wrong, and then I very much doubt myself. And my sister was having a great time with it. She's like, this is hilarious. And I said, well, do you need to come take care of me? What do we do? What's next steps of the dementia? I can't even tell you how relieved I was that she found that.
No kidding.
I was horrified.
How come you couldn't find it?
Well, because we're talking on the phone and I saw that I sent her a video and I just grazed over it because in my head, I'm thinking.
Yeah, you're looking for keywords.
So anyway, I don't have dementia today. So that's a relief.
Bullet dodged.
The bullet was dodged. Here's another great question that I found on the internet, and I think you're going to like this. If you can earn the same pay no matter what you're doing in life, what would you be doing right now?
Wow, that's a good question. That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Now, can you be something like a movie star, or is it street sweeper? Is it something in your wheelhouse?
What they were asking is, what do you really love? What would you like to do with your time? Where would you like to spend?
Well, that's essentially the question.
Yeah. Are you doing it now? But you can make the same amount of money. So money, the money won't change. And I think that's a great question. I like what I'm doing, but I wouldn't continue doing this if I could make the same amount of money. I think I would do something that I would feel more, I really have a heart for like animals and.
Every woman wants to have a 100-acre ranch in Wyoming and let the animals run free.
Well, I don't want to live in Wyoming. I want to live in Bali. And I already found a lady who lives in Bali who has a rescue site, and she is in my back pocket for my future.
I mean, how many out of a million ladies actually make that happen?
Not many, but if I could make the same amount of money, the only reason I'm not doing something like that is I can't afford it. So what would you do? Would you still be doing what you're doing now?
I think I'd pursue stand-up comedy more.
There it is. I like that.
It's coming. It's happening. I'm writing.
I like that.
I'm working on more. I got 13 minutes of Alzheimer's jokes to write. Then I'm ready to go.
I like that stand-up comedy. That's a good idea.
But I like what I'm doing too. This is nice. I engage different parts of my brain for my business. I'm a little bit lazy, but I mean, I feel engaged.
What's your passion? What do you have a real passion for? Like, I don't know, painting or art or feeding the homeless or.
Well, how about, giving guided tours or something like that? That'd be fun, huh? You're giving guided tours in Italy or
Yes.
going down to South America.
I would love that. I remember once I was on a trip to Maui many years ago, and the tour guides were two, like, white people. They were not locals, and they were on a little bus giving tours. And I thought, that's the ticket right there. You live in Hawaii and you just give tours and you laugh and talk with your partner all day.
Right.
That's a good one. I like that. You would be a good tour guide.
Hey, how you doing? You losing weight? You look great.
I mean, would you
Mostly out of your wallet, huh?
You're already prepared. Would you go international to be a tour guide, do you think?
I'd be huge in Ireland, right?
Well, I think you'd be huge anywhere. Tom, you have a size 15 shoe.
Did we talk about that yet?
No. As a matter of fact, Earl asked me, I need to respond to him. He asked me on Facebook what the correlation was with anything else.
Do not engage with Earl.
Earl tried to trap me, so I let it sit there for a minute, and I just realized I have.
Oh, by the way, most of Earl's comments I have to delete.
Earl. So inappropriate. We'll call him inappropriate Earl.
I let that one slide. I go, well, it's not so bad.
Inappropriate Earl.
I'm not kidding you either.
What?
I'm not kidding. I've deleted Earl's comments most of the time.
I've deleted plenty of people's comments. You know what? Here's the thing.
What are you trying to one up me on the deletion?
No, I'm agreeing with you and supporting your choices.
It sounds like you're trying to one up me.
You sound paranoid.
I felt attacked.
I know you're paranoid. It's fine. I support that. Listen, definitely social media has changed a little bit because of all the big things. Before, we were all very happy watching puppy videos, girls on the beach. And now we're fighting about politics and what are the right and moral choices in life. And there was an article one of my friends posted today about how people have lost friends over COVID, over what people disagree about, what's safe and what's not safe. And it was a very interesting article just to kind of read, the mindset, because I think a lot of us are thinking it, but we're not saying it. I mean, do you ever feel that way? Like, what are they doing? Are we still in a pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, some people think it's officially over. I mean, plus to the point where people will post flat out lies. One gal said, "Oh, Sweden is banning masks."
Oh, come on.
That was the posting, and she said masks are banned in Sweden. BAND.
Yes, yes.
I said this post is wrong on two levels. First, the spelling, and secondly, here's the link to the story where they're not banning. No one's even talking about banning. They're increasing. They're going to N95s. There you go. Banned.
The misspelling on social media is a real sore spot. And I feel like when I see that, I just dismiss anything they say. Because if you can't check your spelling when you're trying to make a point, then you're very lazy.
It's all fun. I tell you, to be in a sarcastic response, I'll make up a bunch of lies. I said, this is fun just making shit up. You don't have to back up. COVID's not the flu. It's a cold mutation. It could be, water. Just make shit up.
Yeah. Well, that happens a lot. I think, do you believe that some people do that just because they enjoy the fight?
Well, where did you hear that Sweden is banning masks? Where would you hear that?
I don't know. I think people sometimes just enjoy the fight. Don't you?
Of course. Well, they're regurgitating stuff they've heard on Newsmax or OAN.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, let's talk about millionaires.
Please.
Guess what?
You got 3 minutes to go. Go on.
Guess what percentage of Americans are current day millionaires?
Now, may I say, is this property and bank, or I got $1 million in the bank that I can access immediately, or I'm sitting on I've got $600,000 worth of property and then stocks and 401k, and I could take over $1 million.
Yes, the last one.
So complete portfolio.
Yes, the portfolio millionaire. Guess
not
what?
Not $1 million in the bank.
Of Americans only. We're only discussing America.
You know what? The number is higher than you expect. It's going to be not 10%, but it's not going to be less than 1%. I'll tell you that right now. I'm telling you, I'm going to call it 2.3%.
See, I love that you know numbers so well, because when I read these things, I love to hear how you break it down. This is according to the Global Wealth Report for 2020. Okay. Your number needs to go up few little notches.
Sorry, I took 18 seconds to figure it out.
No, I think you did a great job of explaining why you were in that zone. It's higher than what I thought it was going to be.
8%.
8%.
Yeah, because you've got places like in California, in New York, that just I'm sitting on a lot of land that's worth 800 grand.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And according to this report, they're
Seems like
saying
a lot though still.
it's a lot. It's really a lot. They're saying that most of the millionaires are regular, hardworking people that have accumulated their wealth over time. This is not an overnight kind of sensation.
Nope.
Guess what percentage of the millionaires believe that they're in control of their own destiny?
100%.
97. Yeah. They said that was a big factor in how these people were able to accumulate their money, is because they did believe that they were in control.
Yeah, if you're waiting for I saw a meme today.
Yeah.
Lion in a cage, lion on the safari. Like the first lion waiting for a meal. First lion never has to worry about healthcare. First lion, doesn't take care of itself, but it's a caged animal. Second lion, master of its own domain, right? Which one
Yeah.
are you? It's like, well, let me just tell you, the first lion was found frozen to the sidewalk as I was walking to the 7-Eleven. I mean the second
Right.
lion, the one that was master of his own domain, because once you run out of resources, you're done. And as a community, as a society, we can build roads, have police, support people that are, missing a few meals.
Right.
So yeah, it's got to be a combination. We want our freedom, but we want a social net as well.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They were saying that for the 8% of millionaires, that they were very intentional about getting out of debt, which is one of the big things you need to do. Get yourself out of debt. And they said that 94% of the millionaires live off of much less than what they make, because they understand
Right.
what it takes. And
that is handcuffs.
I mean, it seems like it's common sense, but I think for people, I know a lot of people, and I was there too, always struggling for money, always looking at other people going, why do they? Why do they? Don't worry about anybody else. Focus on what you have, because everybody's story is completely different. They said that a typical millionaire in this 8% spends $200 less a month because of their budget, because they make budgets.
Right.
That budgets are very important. Do you make a budget? Do you have a budget?
I do not. I have a budget in my head.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a time there I was spending $100 a day just at Home Depot buying paint. And I said, you can't spend $100 a day, whatever it is, unless if you got a project, you can handle that, but you can't just keep on running there. You're not.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, I appreciate the apps. I have apps that show me what I make versus what I spend it on. Is it entertainment? Is it food? I wouldn't have done that on my own, but those apps are extremely helpful for you to look at and go, oh, you know what? I really got to pull back on this. Is a little ridiculous. Right. If you look at how long it takes me to make this money and how quickly I spend it on something that.
Yeah. If you're making $7 an hour and you're buying, $50 sneakers, like, wow.
Yeah. So I thought that was very interesting, because I think the perception of people that are considered millionaires is that they're lucky or they're really flamboyant. If you look at people that are out in the world, especially these social media influencers, they try really hard to show that they have a lot. And I feel like a lot of people I know that have a lot don't do that at all. They don't brag. They don't drive fancy cars. You talked about that. Someone said they thought you were poor because you drove this. Is it called an SUV? What's it called?
Well, I drive a 2004 Ford Expedition.
Yes.
316,000 miles on it.
That's so impressive.
I
love that.
I mean, yeah, I could get a new car, but I'm waiting for the car as a reward when I really hit it big. I've been doing okay, but all right. You're driving this, my friend, until you get an order from Lowe's or from Tractor Supply or something huge happens.
Yeah. But I love the fact that even though you can afford a new car, you don't get a new car because you don't see it as necessary. You have a great life, you travel, you go out, you do things. And I think that's the disconnect from people that want money and people that have money, right? Is that people see people with money and they think, oh, they're very flashy. They do. That's not the case.
No, I mean, yeah, I could go ahead and I could buy a new car if I wanted. I don't spend that much time in the car, and that's that. And it's interesting. Now, if that was the only car I could afford, that'd be another thing. That'd be
Yes.
wearing on me psychologically. Why am I driving this
Yes.
shit back? So I deserve, But
Right.
no, I just get in the car, and that car
Right.
serves me so well because
Yes,
I'm
it has.
always hauling shit around,
Yes.
loading it up with props, getting
Right.
it. When I was working at the ranch, working at all that stuff, I would pack that thing to the gills.
Right.
It's great.
And so can you think in your lifetime, what's been your one of your more extravagant purchases? Did you go out on a limb and spend the money and go, wow, that was kind of crazy?
No, but I wish I spent more money on traveling and stuff. The trips I've had with the kids and stuff have always been memorable. The car I paid cash. I bought that car
Yeah.
cash, bought the ranch cash.
Yeah.
They're extravagant, but that's, the
No, but
cars are
that's
diminishing as asset. But if you drive it for 16 years, it
no,
kind of
that's
pays itself
crazy.
off.
How are you able to maintain it without it falling apart? That's impressive. Because you said
That
you
car
don't
was
even really.
the car's been a beast. I mean, it's had a couple of I did replace the transmission on it 50,000 miles ago. I was like a
Yeah,
coin toss. I said 15 grand for a transmission or buy another car. I go, it's a beast. I just drive it and it goes.
that's amazing. So even as like a high schooler or a young man, there was never a time where you bought something and you're like, oh, that was really pretty extravagant.
And then Pat and I bought a boat, but it was on the cheap. If it was 14 grand, we split that seven and
Yeah.
seven. So that wasn't all that much money. I mean, I enjoyed taking the trip to Ireland. I don't regret that. Was
Yeah.
that and that was on with a Groupon, 3,000, 3,500 bucks.
Nice.
That was great.
Very nice. I remember once I was like probably 20 living in LA, barely making any money at all. And I was working retail and auditioning. And there was this mohair sweater. And I don't know if you know what mohair is. It's miserable to wear, but it's gorgeous. And this sweater cost $100. And I knew it was out of my budget and I knew I couldn't afford it. Like if I were to buy that, how was I going to replace the money to live or buy groceries, right? I knew it. Oh, I bought it. I bought that sweater and I kept it. I barely wore it and I kept it for probably 20 years because I was like, damn it. I spent $100. I finally got rid of it because I thought, what are you hanging on to it for? But it was a real lesson for me, not to say I haven't been extravagant since then, but it was a real lesson for me of I didn't get the joy out of it. I thought I was because it just pained me so
Oh,
much.
really? That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it made me sad that once the thrill of purchasing it, and then it was over because I thought,
Oh,
I'm out. I'm
I have
out.
to say that I've had opposite feelings with things that I've purchased. Mostly
Yeah.
if I purchase it, I'm glad I got that 55 and not the 47-inch TV. I don't miss the $60 difference between the one TV and the
Yeah.
other TV. That so it turned to be money well spent.
Yeah. Well, I think
Huh.
as an adult, I've learned those lessons. And I tell my daughter all the time, buy the better quality, spend more money because you spend more money when
That
you
was the tip of the day two shows ago.
yeah. Well, but I'm saying that I agree with that. But with the sweater, it was different because I didn't need it. It had no value other than the fact of a desire that mohair sweaters are
Well,
so
it's an
fancy.
interesting question because I've asked myself the same question. Am I going to go through my life without owning a Porsche or a high power Tesla or not enjoying the fruits of where we live technologically on this timeline? I mean, am I not going to enjoy that? I think I should.
Do you want a Porsche?
I think I want to. I think it's like it would be sad if I would croak tomorrow and never really have a super really great car. Although I mean, I enjoyed a couple of cars that I've had. I've enjoyed the car I'm driving now, but it's no longer a fun car.
Yeah. No, exactly. But
Yeah,
I feel like the impression I get of you is overall in life, you are enjoying life. You're doing what you want to do, right?
I agree 100%.
Yeah. And I think that's another disconnect. I think when we go to school and we feel like we have to go to college and we're caught up in the pressure of I better do this, I should do that because if I do this down the road, everything's down the road. If I do this, then this will happen for me. And I think now that the pandemic's happening and we've had time to kind of look at things we haven't looked at before. Hopefully it's changed some people's mindsets on why they're living the way that they're living.
Right. No, it's good to say. I love that question. If money wasn't an object, what would you be doing? Because you're asking somebody what they really want to do.
What do they really want to do?
I want to
that.
play chess. I want to paint pictures
Do
make
you
it.
want to be a chess master like the Queen's Gambit?
I should play chess. Patrick and I told Pat, I said, we need to come up with a weekly thing. Like we're doing checkers on Tuesday nights or we're watching a movie.
Oh, good idea. That's a great idea. So what's it going to be? Did you come up with a plan?
No, it's just a bunch of flapping the jaws. No one's doing anything.
All right. Well, I bought an exercise app. I'm going to start today. We'll see if I actually do it.
In the morning now, I go out for a 1.5 mile walk, come back, do 15 hard minutes on the roller, 5 minutes to rest. So let's see what I'm at.
I love it. Love it.
6,600 steps.
That's amazing. No, that's good. I don't do that because I'm in my house and it's cold and snowy. That's why I bought this workout. I need someone to tell me exactly how to work out. I can't do it on my own.
I credit Melissa for getting me structured on the rowing, although she's crushing me. She's doing 5,000 meters in 30 minutes, right? I'm leaking in to 2,000 meters in 15 minutes.
Well, she's a nurse, and I feel like nurses are super strong people. And now you've got a goal.
Makes me cry a little bit. She did. I still haven't beaten. My goal is to get to, is to break 15 minutes. Let me show you. So here's me. You should do something similar.
All right. What is that?
Tracking your progress. So the first day, this was February 10th. I've been with the rowing machine fiddling around since literally the last day of January or so. And then February on, and then after I saw Melissa, her 5,000 meters, I finally could, okay, here's a goal, is 2,000 meters.
Yes.
So that's 17 minutes and 52 seconds, right? The next day, 17:08, 16:25, 16:13, 15:52, 15:27, 15:15, 15:16, 15:12, and today 15:03.
So you're getting better and better. And what is it the rower that's tracking your progress?
It's got this little thing on it. The rowing machine's got a little tracker on it. So my goal is to break 15 minutes, hopefully tomorrow.
Very nice. Very good. Well, when we talk on Wednesday, hopefully we'll have a guest. We're just waiting to make sure all the schedules pan out. We have a surprise guest for everybody on Wednesday. And I'll let you know if I actually do exercise, and we'll see if Tom surpasses his goals. Do you have a lovely tip of the day? Do you have a tip of the day for us, Tom?
You know, I'm a big fan of making a list. I was listening to I don't know who I was listening to. Who's this? Scam Likely.
Don't pick up this Scam Likely.
And you're off. The lists. Everything's about lists. You're floating without a list.
Yeah.
You can't just go to the grocery store and expect to walk out of what you need without a list.
Oh, I do. This is why I order online, because in the old days, when I went to the grocery store, I would just ramble along the aisles, and it was terrible because I'm a sucker for those end caps. What do you mean, chocolate covered what? Yes, I do. I'm exactly what grocery stores want.
Impulse shopping all over the place.
But you're right. You're right. It's absolutely true. You have to have a list. So, all right. So stick with your list, make a list.
Yep.
And we will catch up on Wednesday. I don't even know what the date is today. Do you?
Today is the 22nd.
Yes, 22nd.
Washington's birthday.
Woohoo!
I've got my handy tape launching Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. between 7 and 8 a.m. I'll have my contraption in full glory. I'm working on all my demonstrations.
All right. That's Wednesday at 7 a.m.
Yeah, that copper pipe, PVC pipe, garden hose will all be leaking, and I'll be making repairs.
And what is your product called specifically?
Handy Tape, HANDITAP. I can't believe I was able to get that as a website.
Handy Tape. I like it. Handy Tape on Wednesday, 7 a.m. Everybody, buy your Handy Tape now.
See, I have no problem with me promoting stuff, but you holding up books and stuff, I'm very much against.
No, we will do what the boss wants to do.
All right. And my name's Tom Wise.
And I'm Melinda McKinsey. Thanks for unpacking some shit with us today.
And that's another one in the can. And we stop now.